So, on a weekend when many around the world were seeing a film about the abuses of children, news magazines and organizations alike, TV presenters around the globe, were doing their level best to call those that were supporting the film some sort of conspiracy theorists, and that, well, they were believing in fringe things that don't actually exist, at least not to the extent that is portrayed in the film Sound of Freedom. Of course, that seems rather odd to somebody like me who had witnessed in the news media for many, many years consistently claims being made by these same organizations that this was not only something in existence, it was a real problem. In fact, I would think that all the NGOs around the world that are constantly battling these issues would rise up, or at least be heard in a lot of these news articles and stories. But hey, that's not what happened. Of course, we all do know what has happened, at least recently. There's somebody that's sitting in jail right now because, well, they had a list of people that participated in some very bad acts on an island. And one of the parties, is no longer with us. And as I said, the other one seems to be in jail. And yet the people that are on that particular list, the ones that had the role in soliciting the illicit behavior and then conducting it, well, they're nowhere to be found, at least not in jail. And of course, that actually ended up with somebody being punished for something, although all of the somebodies that were actually involved weren't. That's not a conspiracy theory, right? That's facts. So, while the mainstream media was engaged in trying to discredit the film and those that made it, and of course everybody who went to see it and think something about it, they got something that they didn't bargain for this weekend: an underage abuse scandal themselves. And worse yet, it's from the largest state media propagandist in the Western world, known as the BBC. That's right, here we go. In case you missed it, the BBC has been rocked by a bombshell, as a prominent presenter, that's what they call their news readers over there, has been suspended following allegations engaging in inappropriate, involving explicit images with a teenager. While the corporation has not disclosed the identity of the individual that is involved, the scandal has raised serious concerns and prompted an investigation, or many investigations, by the BBC, the Metropolitan Police, and some other federal entities that, well, are going to be rather aggressive about this. Now, in the UK, this story is everywhere, and according to reports published in The Sun, the presenter allegedly paid a teenager over £35,000 sterling in exchange for explicit images. The exchanges themselves supposedly occurred in 2020 when the teenager was just 17 years of age. Shockingly, or maybe not so shockingly, it's been revealed that the teenager used that money to support a crack cocaine addiction, to add really weird insult to injury. Of course, good people around the world, and specifically in the UK, are, full of outrage, and they're reacting to the illegal implications, as it's obviously illegal in the UK to possess or distribute indecent images of anyone under the age of 18, just like it is here in the United States. And it doesn't matter who consents to what, you just can't do it. So, the BBC has faced a lot of criticism for its handling of the situation because there's a lot of questions around why action was not taken sooner, because reportedly this was known for some time. I'm not going to dive into all of that. At this point, the mother of the teenager involved has come forward and has been expressing her dismay and accusing the presenter of destroying my child's life, which I would say there's a pretty good argument for that at this point. She revealed that she had lodged the complaint with the BBC in May, and ding, 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 there it is. Now, the presenter, despite the complaint that's been going on in the background, continued to host high-profile programs until very recently. And you can figure out for yourself what recently means. And of course, a little too late to the party, the BBC has actually issued a response to the allegations, stating that, they were aware of it, they acknowledged the seriousness of the situation, and they emphasized that their commitment to addressing this is, well, priority one, or something similarly. I'm paraphrasing, of course. And they are conducting a lot of internal investigations right now. Well, shouldn't you have been doing that back in May? Obviously, as I mentioned before, they're collaborating with external authorities, adhering to the established protocols, whatever those happen. A whole lot of other stuff right now. So in order to conduct this kind of investigation, you have to cover up a lot of other things along the way. Seems to be the way things are with the mainstream media and, of course, the elites. Now, the UK government at large has urged the BBC to investigate the claims urgently, but also sensitively. The culture secretary that's there now, Lucy Fraser, and the BBC Director General, Tim Davie, are obviously in contact with government officials, emphasizing the need for a thorough examination of the matter. I would have thought you've been doing that since May. And now we're to the crux of the matter, because there's obviously parties, specific ones, involved in this, and the identity of said presenter has been the subject of speculation and rumors, of course, but nobody has been identified. There are several subjects that seem to be of interest, at least to the public, and many of them have come out, such as Gary Lineker, I think that's how you say it, denying his involvement, and of course there are 3 other presenters that have done the same. However, industry sources have provided names that repeatedly are emerging in discussions as the potential people who are responsible. Curiously enough, at the time of this recording, we don't know who that individual is. I can assure you, here in the States, you'd probably already know. Now, the Metropolitan Police have confirmed that they have been in contact with the BBC, but have not received a formal referral or allegation. That looks very bad, at least at the time of this recording. This happened back in May, and I keep going back to that. Where is everybody? And of course, because they haven't been formally asked to conduct said investigation, they haven't collected the additional information that's required before determining the further course of action since May. And to say that I'm a little perplexed here and quite a bit angry would be an understatement, because this ball should have been rolling at the beginning of the summer, and it just hasn't been. At the time that this information became public, they should have identified the culprit and already be frog marching him to a cell awaiting trial. At least that's the way things are supposed to happen, particularly if you have enough evidence, which it seems like they do in this case, well, to prove that said events occurred. It seems like this is becoming an all too common situation where we have no integrity in the news media, there's no responsibility by anybody associated with them, and nobody is held to account by the authorities. Which leads me to this question: what are these laws even for at this point anyway? If you're not going to enforce them, what's the good of having them? Of course, I answer my own question saying, because there are moral rights and moral wrongs, and if this is indeed a moral wrong that was committed, then somebody's going to be in trouble. Let's try that again. And with that, I'm done with this particular subject matter. I have a feeling that it's not going away, so I'll have to cover it again. But at this point in time, I'm thoroughly disgusted. How about you? Feel free to let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. I'm a little bit curious if this kind of rubs you the wrong way as well, and if quite possibly maybe we should start holding politicians and journalists accountable for their many shortcomings. And with that, be sure to take care of yourself, take care of others, wash your hands, of course, because it's good hygiene, and until next time, bye.